Hey, welcome to math. Today we are going to be working on more tax tip commission, but we're going to be focusing on using the shortcut and working backwards today. So we're going to do a couple of quick examples that I'm just going to demonstrate, and then you are going to get the handout and you're going to get going on it. I want to remind you that your IXL is due on Tuesday. Happy Martin Luther King Day on Monday. So enjoy the 3-day weekend and let's get started. Make sure you have your calculator out and a pencil. And let's begin. So we talked about finding sales tax and tip, and we use this proportion on the left-hand side where you find the percent of tax, and this becomes the amount of tax. What we are going to do is a shortcut. Instead of thinking of this as the amount of tax up here, we want to go directly to the total with the tax or with the tip. And in order to do that, you are going to add 100% plus either the tax or the tip rate, and that will take you to the answer with that tax or tip included, because you have to pay 100% of the bill plus the additional tax. And so let's do an example like that. So it says a student is buying a Fisher Junior High shirt online for $19.99. There is 8% sales tax. How much would the student spend including tax? So I want the full amount. Now we're going to do something a little bit different because I'm going to get you guys ready. We're going to start using this table to kind of help us visualize. So the original cost was $19.99. We're going to write that here. And so I want you guys just to see this because you're going to do this on your homework. So this is the original. And it said our tax is going to go here today, and so the percent of tax is 8%, and we are going to eventually figure out the total cost. And so what we want to get down to is this total cost. Now, what we did in the past is we set up a proportion, which we're going to do again, but what we did is we found this amount. We are actually going to skip that amount, which is the dollars that you're going to pay in tax, and then add them together. And what we're going to think about is I have to pay 100% of the original cost, and I have to pay 8%, and so I'm going to have to pay a total of 108%. And so if I use these two amounts, I have the 100% of $19.99, and it gets me to 108%, I can go directly to my answer. And so what we're going to use is the original cost, once again, was $19.99. And now we're going to end up using this percent, 108%. This would be the percent with tax, okay? And by doing that, our A now becomes the amount with the tax included, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and get our calculators out, and I'm going to go through this rather quickly. Obviously, this is 100A, and when you take your calculator out, you're going to go $19.99 times 108. When we do that correctly, we get it looks ugly, 2158.92, and you're going to divide by 100. And remember, this is why we're using calculators, because when we're dealing with money in the 1999 type deal, it's going to end up not looking pretty. So on your calculator, after you divide by 100, it moves that decimal point over 2. And so now we are going to round to the nearest penny. Remember, penny goes back 2 place values, and behind the 8 is a 9. So the amount is $21.59. That is our total with tax included. And we've just skipped finding the amount of tax. So if I'm asked for the grand total, we can use the shortcut. Okay, if I subtracted these two amounts over here, if I subtracted the $21.59 and the $19.99, you could figure out how much you paid in tax, or if you just did the 8%. Now, the reason why we're learning this is because there are situations like this one. And it says the student spent $64.19 with tax for a video game. If there was 7% sales tax, what was the price before tax? Now, if we use this table, this is where it's helpful. So this is our original, this is going to be our tax, and this is going to be our total. Now, we know that it was 7%, so we can put that percent here. We know that the total with tax is $64 and 19 cents. Now, the hard part, and this is where it's very confusing to many students, is if you think this through, the 7% was not found on this amount. So when we set up our proportion, we cannot put the $64 on the bottom and put 7% up on top, because we have to get back to this box, okay? We have to get back to the original, okay? And you were supposed to pay what percent of the original? 100% of the original plus an additional 7%. I did not find 7% of the 64. You find 7% of this amount right here, which was the original. And so we are missing the original this time. Remember, our original is going on the bottom. And so the only way you can work backwards is we have to add these 2% and get 107%. What we need to realize is we have the total with tax. So if I have the total with tax, I need the percent with tax. And so this is the only way we can work through this one. So we have to use 107% of the $64.19. And now we can work backwards to our original. And so when we multiply 64.19 times 100, it's going to move the decimal point over 2. And now we have 107W, divide by 107. And that is going to get you, well, when we use that calculator, it's going to get you $59.99. So the cost of the video game would have been $59.99. This is the only way that we can work backwards and get to the original. You have got to use the shortcut. And so this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to be practicing this more and more. So what you're going to do right now is your teacher is going to hand out to you the homework worksheet that is going to begin with these questions. And we're going to do one question on the front together and one question on the back together, and then you are going to complete the remaining portion for homework. So this first question we're going to do together. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. And it says, Gabby, so get a calculator out and follow along. And Gabby finds a skirt that she likes at a store for $49.99. The tax rate is 5.8%. How much will the skirt cost in all? So begin with the original here. We're going to have tax here, and we're going to have the total with tax here. So in this case, you have a tax rate of 5.8%. This amount right here is without tax, and so that is this. We are going to use the shortcut because what we're looking for is we are trying to find the total with tax. Now, if you use this 5.8%, that will give you this amount, which would be the dollars that you're going to pay in tax. I want to go directly from the $45.99 down to the total with tax. And so if I want to know the total with tax, then I need to be thinking about, I need to pay 100% of the original plus an extra 5.8% that the government would like. So I'm going to be paying 105.8% to get to the total with tax. And so we start here, and we have 100 here. We have our original amount, always goes on the bottom. Now we're going to use this amount, the 105.8%, because this is the percent with tax, and that's going to give me the amount with the tax included. And so that's our shortcut to get to the answer. Instead of finding the tax here and then adding these two amounts, we're going to go directly down to the answer. And so once again, we're going to do our cross products. You're going to get your calculator out. You have 100A. You're going to multiply the 45.99 times the 105.8. You're going to get on your calculator a nice number of 4,865.742. So once again, it's not always going to be very pretty. We're going to divide by 100. And when we divide by 100, we get 48.65742. You obviously don't need to write all of that out when you're doing it. but it's going to round to the nearest penny. There's a 5 in the hundredths place. Behind the 5 is a 7, so the 5 will become a 6, and the cost with tax is $48.66. Now, some of you may have done the 5.8%, found this amount, then add the 2, and you'll find that you get the same exact answer of $48.66. Now, you'll notice you're going to finish the rest of this worksheet. You're going to work on that side is the same idea. You're going to be finding the total with tax or the total with tip. You're going to use a shortcut. Now, notice I did not put a box here because this is a commission question, and commission you're not going to add like we do on the bottom down here. So you're just finding that percent. Flip over, and now we're going to talk about a practice. We're going to work backwards, because now the only way to work backwards, you're going to be given this amount. You're given the amount with the tax or with the tip, and you have to work backwards to get to the original. So this is where we have to use the 100% trick, if you will. All right, so we're going to look at number 9, and we'll do number 9 together, and then you'll do the other ones on your own. So once again, we're going to write that this is my original here, and let's read the question and see what we're looking for. So Antonio's family spent $40.25, including the tip. Okay, they left a 15% tip. What was the bill without the tip? So we're looking for the original this time. It was a tip question, so this is our tip, and we're doing a 15% tip. Sometimes it's 20, and this would then be the bill with tip down at the bottom. Well, they gave us the bill with tip, which would be our dollars column, and we're going to put it here, which is $40.25. What we are trying to find, and the reason why we're using this table is gives you a visual of kind of where you're trying to work. And so if I'm going to try to work backwards, I need to know what this percent, well, I need to do 100% of the original cost to get to this box right here. And so this box down here at the bottom would have been the $40.25 is 115% of this original. Now we have the information we need, and we can work backwards. We're missing the original. Remember, the original is going on the bottom, and I'm going to use the 115% because this is the percent with the, and the key word is with the tip, and so this needs to be the amount with your tip. And you can get in the habit, if you're using the table, you don't necessarily need to write all that out. And so the amount with the tip was $40.25. Now the only way to work backwards, because once again, you didn't tip 15% off of the $40, you tipped off of a lower amount. You tipped off the bill without the tip. So you can't use the $40 as your W. All right, so we multiply, and that gives us 4,200 or 4,025 on this cross product. You have 115 W. You're going to divide by 115, and that's going to give you, I got to get my calculator out on this one. You guys can get your calculator out and do it as well. So 40.25 divided by 115 gives you exactly $35. And if you're not sure if this is working, you then could go ahead and check your answer. You could try this. 35, do 15%, and then add that in, and do you get the $40.25? Okay, there's a quick, easy way to check those. All right, so on the back, you have to use the shortcut, and you'll be missing W on the back, and the only way to work backwards is to use that 100% rule. So you have 3 more of those work backwards questions, and so you have already done 2. Okay, we did this one together, and we did this one. 2 of our, 12 questions. So you have 10 questions for homework. If you don't finish, you're going to finish that by Tuesday and submit it to Canvas. You also have IXL that's due on Tuesday. Enjoy your 3-day weekend, and have a great day.